Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. We are excited to be back another Monday. And tonight, you just have two of us, but we're here. So we're excited. We're excited to be here. This is a network that is really targeted to the Gen X, the Gen Xers, the Gen X generation. Anyone is welcome, though, but the topics here are going to usually be geared towards Gen X individuals, but the information is helpful for anyone that tunes in. So thank you for joining us tonight. We are excited to be here. And in a minute, we're going to introduce ourselves and get started with our topic for tonight. I'm excited about our topic. So, Regina, you want to introduce yourself first?
Oh, sure. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the Woman to Woman show. And I was out last week, but I'm happy to be back to our new season.
Yes.
Wasn't able to make it back last week, but I'm happy to be here today.
Yes.
And my name is Regina Booker. I'm the owner of Season and Fabulous. We're navigating women in 50 plus. Um, in there, I want to say, I've been doing a lot of research and thinking over summer, like your happy place. It's never too late, to just do whatever you want to do because we don't raise our kids, have careers. We're at that halfway mark where we're thinking about what we're going to do the next half of our life. Am I going to continue to work or am I going to go after my passions? And we just have a lot of candid and good conversations. That's what it's geared towards and where we're going to go um, in the future.
So
And
what are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for stillness today
Oh,
because today I made up my mind I wasn't going to go out of the house because,
oh,
I had a free day and I didn't go out of that. Well, I went out one time because I did have to make a deposit because I'm on a board of another organization. I'm the treasurer. So I had some checks, but I came right back home and I made calls, things that you put off.
mm-hmm.
I wrote out my schedule.
Oh,
It
nice,
was just stillness. And I meditated and I've been in the house all day.
nice, nice,
So I'm
nice.
grateful for that, to just be able to sit still.
Cool, cool. All right. So, my name is Theodora Carter. I am a certified life and career coach and HR consultant. My mission is to empower women to live the life that they desire and deserve, and to help small businesses that are in need of HR services so that they can focus on running and growing their business while I manage their human capital and other HR functions. And so I am excited to be here tonight. And what am I grateful for? I am grateful to be here because I will honestly tell you, Monday was Mondaying, and I just made that word up. but it was a Monday, and so I am glad that I finished the day out strong, and I was able to come here and you know meet up with you and have this conversation. So I'm excited. So for those of you who are tuning in, you are tuning in to the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. There is usually about 6 of us, I think, but
It's three are missing. It's five of us.
yeah, 5 of us.
And if Trey pops in, Trey will pop in sometimes. So that makes six. So
Yeah.
it's six beauty flies total.
So a couple of our co-hosts are on vacation or taking care of other things that they need to take care of. So they'll be back here next Monday. But tonight we're excited. We're excited to talk about this topic that I think is so important, especially to those of us who are in that Generation X or even Boomer category, right? And it is the art of aging, right? Embrace, evolve, empower. Like, you know, Regina and I were talking the other day, and we were talking about this topic, right? We got on the topic of just aging and how things, just things are different, right? They're not bad, but they're different. The way you look at things, the way you navigate certain things, it's different. And so tonight we're gonna just have that conversation live here with you guys. And so pop your questions in the, in the comment section if you have any, but we're going to get started. So Regina, let's like kind of, start off where we left off, and tell me, as you think about, right, like just aging, right? One of the things we were talking about is like just staying physically fit and active and healthy. And you were saying how you've had to like navigate and pivot a little in that area because you're an avid walker, right?
Mhm.
And but you were saying that because you were having some challenges with your feet, you
Mhm.
weren't able to do that. So talk a little bit about how you've navigated, that physical space. Oh, look who's popping in.
Hey, Gina.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Surprise, surprise.
I'm
So, all right. So before we get started, now you need to introduce yourself and tell us what you're grateful for.
Hi, my name is Regina Howard Norman, and at the immediate moment, I'm grateful that I made it here, y'all. I slid in like I was sliding home. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, we're happy you're here. We were just about to talk about, just aging, right?
Okay.
And doing it well. And
Yes.
so because a couple of weeks ago, Regina and I were talking about just aging, right? And some of the
Yes.
things that are changing. And she was talking about, how her activity has changed. I was just asking her to tell us a little bit about what that looks like as far as how she's had to pivot in
Okay.
that area.
Okay. So, as my sisters here know, I love walking. That's like been my freedom, along with my health and losing a few pounds and all that. But recently, and I never can say the name of what I have, but it's plantar fasciitis, or whatever. Everyone knows what it's about. So it's like the bottom of your feet. It pains, and then up the side, it's another word. I have two things going on. So not necessarily it was to my aging because it can happen to athletes. It can happen to anyone. If you're an avid walker or runner, you have to stretch. So in my early 20s and things, I always like to do some type of exercise. So as I was stretching, and I remember when you, as I'm thinking back, and this is where I hope to help someone, I was always told I was very tight in stretching. Like if you had a partner that was able to stretch you, or someone would touch my muscles, like, oh my God, you're so tight. Oh, whatever. Well, whatever got me here. So now I have to pivot and kind of stop my walking. Maybe once every 2 weeks, I can try to walk and, be okay with it. So some things that I've done is I've joined the gym, and I'm not a Xer, Gen X. I'm the bottom part or the last part of the boomers because it's me and Theo actually looked it up. So it's two sections to it. So I'm in the latter part. So I just turned 65. So guess what happens when you turn 65? You get to go to the gym free because you'll be silver sneakers.
So explain that to people. So for someone that is at that age of 65, what the silver sneaker, because I'm kind of jealous about the silver.
So with silver sneakers, what happens is it's part of, okay, is it Medicare? Because I worked all my life. Whichever one you get, I think it's Medicare. So I had to tell, I think care, because they say care is when you're working, Kate is when you need, but
Mhm.
care. You get your Medicare card. I think I'm saying it right.
Mhm.
And when you turn 65, if you retire, or basically if you're still working, you might not get it because of the fact it depends on where you get your insurance from. So most people in corporate America, if you're in government or something, a lot of people, they provide their insurance. But I know in corporate America, you can take the insurance, but it'll be like paying COBRA. So no one really takes it. So you choose whichever A, B
Yeah,
company
part
you
A or
want.
part B.
Yeah, part A, part B. And along with that, I'm with Humana. So what happens is they provide for seniors, because a wellness program, and they pay for you to go to the gym. All you show is yours, and they give you a silver sneaker ID number, and you just take it to the gym, and they ask you to pull it up. Bam, you're in there free, and you can join as many gyms as you want. I joined 3.
So, for anyone who is 65 years or over,
Mm-hmm.
you have Medicare. So, I'm telling you, write this
Mm-hmm.
down, people. And if you're not 65, but you have a parent who is 65, this is some good information because you can go to a gym
Mm-hmm.
for free.
And maybe you also should check, because there's some women that are in the gym with me, because I do. The reason I joined 3, I did it in my surrounding areas because I looked at the gym. So the one that does water aerobics, that's really all I could do there. Because when I look at their other things, they don't have any other classes, and it's just equipment. And I haven't built myself up to know how to do equipment well, so I don't really do it. Um, and then I go to, there's one called Eastway. No one know, but it's through the city. I forgot what it's a center, a rec center. So I've joined a rec center, and so they have different activities for seniors, and it's for every. It's that's not only for seniors, but it's for everyone. But for what I'm talking about, there's different activities you could do, and then they have senior classes that they do. Then I joined another gym because a friend of mine, we were going to do accountability partners, and they have more classes. So that is the reason I'm just not going around joining gyms. But it just made sense. But if you are probably in your 50s, check your insurances, because insurance pay partial of that. So some of the ladies that I do the water aerobics with, they only pay, like, I want to say one lady said $20.
Mm.
Some little small amount, because she said she wasn't 65 yet, but it might be $10, and it might be for 2 or 3 months. But check your insurances. Do have something called health and wellness that will
Mhm.
pay partially for that gym.
And it's not even just for those of us who are Gen X, because
Mhm.
I'm gonna put my HR hat on, right? Most employees don't look at all of the benefits
Right.
that are
So
offered.
check
So
your coverage.
you really need to check your coverage, because a lot of organizations now do offer wellness benefits. Like if like say for someone who does Weight Watchers or one of those other weight management programs, some of them will pay for that. Some of them will pay for you to go to the gym, right? If you join a gym, you don't have to be 50, you don't have to be 60, you could be 20, 30.
Hmm.
But we're talking about Gen Xers today and how we stay physically fit. So I think that's exciting. So Gina, what do you do? How do you stay fit?
Um, I like to dance.
Mm.
So I try to get in a little dancing at least 15 minutes a day. And it could just be anything, whatever floats your boat, whatever you like, as long as your body is like moving and you feel that heart pumping a little bit. You know, I like to, at work is a little sedentary. So what I do is I make myself walk every so often. I also be in my kitchen a lot. We have a kitchen at the job, so I find myself in there. It's called my second office. So I'm walking around. I'm doing different stuff. I'm keeping active that way. Um, I used to like to walk a lot, but either you got to get up early in the morning because of my time at work, so that's not really feasible. So I try to do it more during the day, do a little something. And like I said, the dancing always helps. And
Yeah.
I've been also incorporating stretching, you know,
Okay.
yeah, doing like the legs and the arms and just, alternating. And y'all, there's a lot of chair exercises.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
If you go to YouTube University,
Yeah.
you could find some really good exercise. All you gotta do is plug in, your what you can do. If you're moderate, intermediate, there's walking programs and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's free. You could do it in your living room, or you can even put it on your TV so it doesn't feel like you're just staring at a phone or something like that. But there are different ways that you can take care of yourself. Like if you don't want to go to a gym, some
Yeah.
people like to go to the gym.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
especially after COVID. I mean, I know gym membership really dropped. Right. So
Mhm.
yeah. So let's talk about this, right? Like, because here's the thing. We're what they say Gen X, right?
Mhm.
We're 50 and up,
for
right?
sure.
Um, and we're aging. I think we're aging gracefully, right? But also there is some navigating it, right? Like for me, I'm an avid. I've always been an avid like work. I'm not gonna say always, but probably in my late 20s, 30s, I really got into like eating right, exercising, whatever, right? But because of that, I have an issue with my Achilles, right? And so I'm doing physical therapy right now for that. And so, one of the conversations, right? I think when we reach this age is how do you navigate it with confidence, right? And clarity, because as much as we can do a lot of the stuff we used to do, there are some things that we still can't do the way we want
Mhm.
to do it, right? And so, how do you maintain that mindset of just being confident and bouncing back and not woe is me? How do you not go into that? Oh my God, I'm getting old type of mentality.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it from food. Okay, I'm gonna start there because what we've been taught is like stay active, be active, stay keep mind and body. But it's super important what we eat, because what I'm learning is that I can exercise and I can stretch you do all that stuff, but then if I
Mm-hmm.
come home and I eat a bunch of stuff that's not good for me, well then I'm defeating the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've realized is what I used to be able to do in my 20s to 30s, go to a fast food restaurant and eat a two-piece with the fries and the biscuit and all of that. I have to pull back off of that
Yeah.
because my body is saying, you know what, you're not going to digest that the same way. It's not going to process the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't lose it the same way. I'm not as active as I was.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've had to learn is to gracefully accept where I am now
Mm-hmm.
and to be honest with myself about the amount of activity I do now, right? Because in my mind, oh, I can still do it, I can still move. But if I have to sprint for the bus or sprint for the train, I'm gonna feel that for a few seconds after I get on that train and sit down. I'm gonna need like a little, 16 ounces of water, something like that. I'm just saying. So part of what I learned to do is to accept where I am, but that's not a bad thing because once I accept, my body's responding differently to things. There's certain stuff I don't eat anymore,
Yeah.
or certain things I've minimized greatly because I understand that it doesn't respond to my body well. Also, some people have an excellent metabolism where they can burn off stuff up until their 70s and 80s. My grandparents
Mm-hmm.
like that,
Mhm.
but that's not me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I prayed that I have a longevity gene, but I don't have that burn it off gene, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be mindful of being more responsible to eat better.
Mm-hmm.
Because then now when I'm doing that walking and I'm doing those exercises, it makes a difference. So
Mm-hmm.
I've accepted that I'm getting older and I'm like, forget y'all. I'm not oh we getting older. No.
Oh.
If anybody know anything about cooking, I am being seasoned and I am brining. Okay. So I'm getting my brine on. So if anything, anybody know about brining, if you brine your proteins, they get nice and tender. If you brine your chicken, your turkey, your whatever, it gets nice and tender. So
So
I'm not
what is grinding?
brining means it's a you take some, you could do a combination of brown sugar and salt with a little citrus and some spices you like, and when you're after you rinse your chicken or your protein or whatever, you could brine it for up to an hour if you have the time, or overnight. What that does, it tenderizes the meat and it adds the extra level of flavor. You can even add citrus, you can add lemons, oranges, slices to it, and it just really gives it a different flavor. So guess what? The flavor I was at 30 is not the same flavor I am at 50 plus.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to understand that and acknowledge that. And if I want to have the better quality of life, then I have to act accordingly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that means there's certain things that
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm depriving myself. I used to be, oh, I used to eat that. I used to have that. But guess what? Even when I could have that, don't mean it was good for me.
And you know what? I've never been, because I will say, even in my 20s, 30s, right, I struggled with weight. But, and I'm not trying to do commercials for Weight Watchers, but anyone that knows me now, I lost weight using the program. I used to be a leader. And one of the biggest thing I learned from them is that I don't do well with deprivation. So I have like the 80-20 rule.
Right.
Right? You know, 80 to 85% of the time, I'm eating well, right? I'm eating clean, I'm eating healthy, but I do not deprive myself of anything, because if I do, then when I eat it, I'm gonna go
Mhm.
overboard, right?
Right.
And so I think that's another thing for me as I get older, is just accepting, right, that you just gotta do some things differently,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
right?
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I mean, I'm enjoying it. Like, you know, I still work out. I don't look my age, so I appreciate that. I drink. I've always, I think, for the last 30 years, all I drink really is water, right? So, you know, I think that's another thing, right? Staying hydrated is so important,
Mhm.
right? So,
Yeah.
talk to me about this. How have you balanced, right, aging with growing, evolving, moving, because we all are. I want to say, like, in my 50s I started my business, you in your 50s, like we all
Mhm.
kind of started, some people would say late, I would say on time, right, when we were supposed to, right? But how are you navigating that evolution, like, because I feel like we're all in this evolution now.
Mhm. Well, I would say, it's funny. Yesterday, I was talking to a friend, and I said, as you guys know, I am a substitute teacher. Because
Mhm.
after I got thrown into retirement, with that whole thing we talked about.
But
So
you should really talk about that, right? Because you got thrown into substituting because what? You got laid off.
I got laid off, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared for retirement, because in my mind, I wasn't gonna retire, and it's been 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So if I hadn't got laid off, I would still be working.
Mm-hmm.
However, I wasn't prepared for it. So it kind of threw a boomerang in what I did and what I had to do. But I think I bounced back pretty well and recovered. So I substitute teach, which, and I do it for, they call them EC kids. Yeah, EC kids, which it used to be called special needs. But
Okay.
Okay.
now what EC is exceptional child, to put
Mm,
a positive
I
spin
like
to
that.
it. So I love my babies. Now, when I got last year, I said that's a God assignment, because I in never in my life would be doing this. But now they are my babies. That's another passion that I didn't even know that through that opened up a passion for these little kids. Like these this year, I love my little kids. And I see how smart they are, even nonverbally. They
Mm,
are they are
Yes.
intelligent kids.
mm-hmm.
They just don't talk.
Right.
They understand you. They might not communicate with you, but they understand you.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit there and watch them. We have something called Task Box. I
Mm-hmm.
watched this little kid, and I didn't think he knew anything. He said and did his numbers, added everything, wrote. I was like, oh my God. Every time they do something that amazes me, I know I challenge diverse. But but I like that. That's a passion of mine that I just did. But what I thought about with my friend, I said, you know what? I'm in the second half of my life, which is going to be my growth is exploring all my passions and finding ways to make income out of my passions. So
Mm,
right now, all my things like my season and fabulous, and I was telling her all these things, and it was a thing, when God, the Holy Spirit opens up, and it was happening as I was talking to her, and I said, God allowed me. he put me in this position so I could do my passions. And I remember writing down like 20 years ago, I wanted to open this online store. And I had the name for it and everything. And you just write stuff down.
Mhm.
And I've been working on it. I said, why can't I open it? So that, along with my season and fabulous, along with helping the kids and advocating for young ladies and
Mhm.
women, I mean young girls and women.
Mhm.
So that's my growth. And I'm very happy in the place that I am now. So the substitute income is giving me income to develop my passions.
Mhm.
So that way, hopefully, I won't have to do it for too long. But now I'm finding that I enjoy it. I said, well, maybe I'll cut it down to maybe 2 days.
Mhm. But is what do we call them? Investors.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
But for me, it's more than an investor because even though I'm getting paid,
Mhm.
the joy that I get from looking at those kids. Now I'm not every day in a joy, but overall it's a joy. Because
But
some days you can throw it there, they be like, okay, they on 1,000 today.
I think the one thing that I heard that it was so important is right, and for someone that's listening, and I hope you heard it too, is right that you got put in a situation that you had no control over,
Hmm.
right? And when you reach a certain age, it's harder in the workforce, right?
Hmm.
It is like most people know, right? And most people, that's what they go to. Oh my God, it's hard. I can't find a job. But what happened? You said, what can I do? And you signed up to be a substitute teacher.
Hmm.
And now you found a second passion, right? And this is the second part of your life, chapter of
Hmm.
your life, and you're thriving. And now you're like talking about opening up online stores. So,
Hmm.
what about you, Gina? Like, how have you seen yourself grow? Like, I know was it last year you became a published author?
Yes. Yes. I tell you, it has a lot to do with the mind shift because, for the most part, we're taught to go to school, get your education, do really well, get a job, or have a career where, you're growing that career and then you retire. And then after you retire, then you can enjoy the rest of your life, right?
Mhm.
In between, if you have a family or not, that's a big part of what was taught. So, so my mindset was always about, okay, wherever I work, I'm gonna give it 100%.
Mhm.
And I did that, and I realized that what I didn't appreciate that someone else saw was the talent, the experience, and energy that I gave. And I started saying, but you know, this I'm feeding someone else's dream and mission.
Mhm.
So I've worked in nonprofit the majority of my professional career, in management and in different positions, and I was always feeding the vision and the mission of the organization.
Mhm.
And so my time was connected to how much they thought my value was worth.
Hmm.
And I was so attached to what they were doing because it's good works, right? Doing
Mhm.
good for the community, whether
Yeah.
it's women and children or it's service oriented, and I love that. But it took me a while to realize that my time was way more valuable than what they respected it for. But because I was so connected, now I had already got connected to the communities I served.
Mhm.
So I I didn't necessarily look at, okay, I should be making more or doing something else or even pursuing my own
Mhm.
passion. And so I started thinking about what I wanted to do really a long time ago. Matter of fact, I would say over 20 years ago. I knew that I wanted to do something working with children and families and that sort of stuff. But I was like, well, I even wrote a whole thing. I wrote a whole like what Regina was talking about. I have a booklet where I wrote everything down to the workshops I'd have and the
Mhm.
people I'd bring in. All of this. This is in 1998 I did this.
Wow.
But what did I do in between? I went and worked for a couple of more nonprofits.
Mhm.
Stayed in some of the 3 years, 11, you know, and did something happen? I was let go From
Mm.
the job that I loved so much, but I needed to be let go because I should have left.
Yeah, that
Okay.
that part.
So while and you know, it was one of the best organizations. It was is one it still is. It's one of the best organizations I ever worked for, Dress for Success. And I grew a lot, I gave a lot, and I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized is that at one point I needed to move on. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to go out there and strike out and see what I could do, whether at a different company and do better, or really pursue the dream that never left me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was doing the work, but I was doing it for someone else.
Mhm.
I was doing the thing that I love doing, serving, but I was serving someone else's mission and vision.
Mm-hmm.
So once I started realizing that, hey, your value is more important and your time is worth more than what you've allotted it to, because you've got connected to work, get paid, they take care of your benefits, your coverage, and all that. So stepping out on your own is different,
Yep.
because now you're looking at, okay, when I'm stepping closer to the line of, being independent and making more money, where now I gotta hire somebody. Wow. So that starts looking scary. So you back down. Well, I'll just hang in there. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't straddle the fence. So I realized that I can't straddle the fence.
Yeah.
So the next job that I took, which was a blessing, it happened during the pandemic. I knew that this job where I am right now is for all the reasons it was what it needs to be. But I also know that I need to transition and step into my own thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you can't do both. The thing is, you have to be determined and make a decision that you really are going to pursue your dream and not get comfortable where you are. And you are the only one that knows that for yourself. You are the only one that knows that, you and God, because He already knows the purpose and the plan He has for you.
Mm-hmm.
But when we go buck up against it, we're going to run into some things. And even when we're doing the right thing, we're going to run into some things. But I'd rather do the right thing and run into some things with him than to buck up against him and run into more drama.
Mhm.
So what I've accepted is that where I am is where I'm supposed to be right now, but I have to continually work and prepare for where I'm supposed to be going. Because while this is an investor for me, and I've learned some things, I've grew some more skills, but now I need to take all of that and put it into what I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and you said a lot of things, right, that are so important that, I hope people heard. And one of the things is we get comfortable.
Absolutely.
And part of that I want to say is because we're Generation X, right? Because you said it, right? We were the generation that was raised, you go to school, you graduate high school, you either go to college or you get a job,
Right.
right? And then you stay at the job and you possibly retire from that job, right, if they don't let you go, and then you go on and live your life, hopefully, because
Right.
I've known people, unfortunately, that retire and don't get to live, right, the rest of their life. But at the end of the day, right, it's that we were programmed to do XYZ. And it's so
Right.
funny because the other day I was talking to someone and they were like, "Oh, these what do they call them? The Gen Zs or whatever they are, the
Mhm.
new generation, right? And the millennials, they was like, oh, they don't have any work ethic." And I was like, well, is that really fair to say that they don't have work ethics?
Right.
Or is it that they grew up with a different mindset, right? And so because we are so used to moving in a certain way, right?
Right.
That one of the things I have found in this aging process is I need to be open to doing things differently.
Mhm.
Yes.
Right? Because as you both have mentioned, right? You were somewhere working where you still would have been working, but what happened? They let you go,
Mhm.
right? And so to me, that is, and I think COVID also taught people that, right? Because so many people, companies cut back, and now it's like, what am I going to do?
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the advantages. that the millennials and the Gen Zs might have on us, because they're not thinking of an employer as their only option.
Right.
Right. And so for me, as I age, and I continue to, like, grow my businesses and work and do things right, it is being open to doing things differently and recognizing that, yeah, I don't have to stay somewhere for 20, 30, 40 years and retire from there. That I can get benefits in the open market, right? Because that's why we stay, right? It's the security of the biweekly paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's the security of the benefits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Security of all of this stuff, that there is a way to do it by yourself. Like, there's so many ways to get insurance now. There's so many. I have private retirement plans. Like, yeah, I have retirement plans through the organizations that I work for, but I also have private annuities, right?
Right.
So it's also opening your mind to figuring out, how do I navigate this life, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a way that I live it, that I am not walking around like dreading every Sunday going into a job on Monday.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people that love their jobs. They love their
Exactly.
careers. And so it's not like you have to do either or.
Yep.
Just wherever you are and what works for you.
Yep.
But
Mm-hmm.
just own it. Like, you don't owe
Mm-hmm.
anybody to say, "Oh, I want to start my own business." You can love your job and it's doing well for you and that's working. That's fine.
Yep.
But if there's something else inside of you that's bigger than what you are doing and it won't leave you, then you owe it to yourself to pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
And you absolutely can do both while you're working. It's amazing to me how I started researching other business women and I hear their stories, how they worked in corporate America,
Yep.
for 10, 15 years, and then they were building their own business for the last 3 or 4 years of those 15 that they were at that business. And then they decided, I'm at this point where I can take off now.
Mm-hmm.
So no one is saying cut your job off and then
Nope.
think that's not really the wisest move. You want
Nope.
to create a strategy. What is
Exactly.
your strategy for doing this thing? You don't
Yeah.
just like deuces, I'm out. Like
Yeah.
that,
What's your plan? What's
yeah,
your plan?
yeah. What's your
Be
plan?
intentional. Be
Absolutely.
intentional. Right.
So what the old folks used to say, don't cut off your nose to spite your face, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
don't do something you're gonna wish you can run back to and it's too late, or don't stay somewhere because you're afraid to move and it's too late.
Yep.
So
I
think
mean, and
about what you want to do.
yeah. I think the most important thing for me, right? I think as you age is to really think about, right? Am I living a life, like, am I living a life like, for me at this stage in life, I want to live a life that's peaceful, right?
Mhm.
Like, no drama, right? There's stuff you can't control, but for the most part, I want to live a life that's peaceful. But also, I don't if I am waking up on Monday and I am just so focused on it being Friday, I need to think about whether or not I'm doing what I really want to do.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's why I say, so, like you said, if you're working and you love your job, but if you get up, if on Sunday you start getting the Sunday blues, right? Because you got to get up Monday, and then on Monday you're counting down the Friday, you
right,
might want to think about, are you really doing what you want to do, and are you really in the space, and then make a plan. Because the other thing that I think, not all of us, but some of us as Gen Xers didn't do well, is manage our money as
right,
efficiently and effectively as we should have. Right. And so some of us find ourselves being a little bit behind the 8 ball,
mm,
right? When it comes to being able to retire,
right,
right? Or being able to pivot.
Well, right now with the economy, um, everything's going up,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I'm in that space
Yeah.
where, oh my God, like
Ooh, excuse me.
you just, I don't know, I don't even know if you even plan even if you plan, will it I don't want to make it blankly like that, but everything is just so
Mhm.
awfully high, and it's just keep going up and up. Like people aren't even making salaries to
Nope.
what you're trying to get. I went to the grocery store and I'm looking like I was just here last week, and are you kidding me? Like,
It's not keeping pace with. I think the thing is also right is the lifestyle that some people like some of us are used to certain lifestyles, right? But now our lifestyles are not keeping up with the pace of like
well, we're not getting the raises that we used to get.
what's her name, Tiffany the budgetista.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
um, what she would say is like, are you looking at your budget and is it an overspending problem or not having enough money? Like trying to figure out what's the problem, right? Is it
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's the overspending, sometimes it's like you said, not having the right salary or the money,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's both. It's a
Mm-hmm.
combination.
It's a combination. It's sometimes I just choose to stay in the house because one, I can go out. You go out, you start spending money.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes my wise decision, you better stay your butt in this house. Even if you're going somewhere quick, you if you detour off to it's always fun. I don't care if you buy an ice cream cone. Not to say, but you then that'll lead to something else. That'll lead to something else. And then there's a cute little especially on Saturdays, all these little vending, cute little community, something going on or and where we I don't know if it's over. Well, I was walking. I try to walk on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
Theo, the boardwalk.
Oh yeah, yep. The
So
book.
in the summer, it might be over now. Every Saturday, it had all these vendors out and the music playing, and it's so pretty. You see the water, the atmosphere out there. I was like, oh, let me buy this. Oh, let me buy that. What kept me focused was my walk. And so by the time I finished my walk, because I would have to, the little part where you go down and then you're on the little walkway. I
Mhm.
did that about 5 or 6 times. So then when I finished, I didn't feel like going back to the, but as I was walking to the past all the people, I'm gonna come back and look. So that's what got me. But things are just when you go out the house, you spend money.
I mean, and I don't know for me, I guess because you know me, I'll go to Barnes and Nobles and just sit in Barnes and Nobles,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and also I think for me coming from New York, I like love being down here because I find like they have so much free stuff to do.
Well, the free stuff, yeah, but somehow I find a way to spend money. I'm just gonna be real. I'll find a way. So mine could be overspending, and I'm trying to work on that, because I find a way to spend money.
But let's talk about that, right? Like like we're at that point, right? Like where you really do need to start looking at,
Mm-hmm.
you know, retirement and what that looks like, and you
Right.
know what how because I remember walking through this with my financial advisor and talking about like she's like, okay, so how do you want to live when you retire? Like what are the things you want to do? Because that's how you're gonna have to plan, right?
Right.
For how much money you're putting aside, how you're spending, getting better at budgeting and tracking, how you're spending, what you're doing. Like I find for me is when I cook in the house, I save money because I am quick for I'm gonna run out. I'm gonna meet somebody for lunch. I'm gonna meet somebody for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Panera Bread, right? So for me, it's really being conscious about, making sure I go to the grocery store. I'm
Mm-hmm.
cooking. I'm meal prepping, right? Because not only is it saving money, but also then I have control over what I put in my body.
Right.
Now I can speak on that. Now that is the part that I haven't quite got under control yet, but it's a very important part. I used to hear people that are retired. Well, I can't do this or I can't. They didn't say they can't
Mhm.
do it. They would say they would have a budget or And I'll be looking, you worked all your life. What do you mean you can't? And I would have some like little attitude, like, "But you now I know."
Oh man.
So it is very true because you have to um for me especially, we I'm trying to help somebody here. Life situations had me have to go into my 401k. So therefore, I was building it up again. So I had to put a whole new engine in my car. And
Mm,
then, I moved here from Jersey to North Carolina. And it took me quite some years to, when I moved here in 2016, I didn't really get a real job. What I mean with benefits and stuff, I was a contractor. So I had no benefits. And then at the time when I didn't have any things that I did, I went on vacations like I had PTO,
mm-hmm.
not realizing because I was like, oh, but I'm working. When I came back, and it took me the longest time. I'm like, why my check's not right? It didn't dawn in, even though I got vacation, I didn't get paid vacation.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a lot of factors. And then during that time that I was trying to secure a job, I did have some type of a pension, but I had to go into it. So therefore, I say that all this long story that I'm down to just my Social Security.
Mm,
You really have to budget that thing.
Yeah.
mm,
And then when I got kicked out, and I do have a little like Theo say, I do have a little annuity on the side, but
mm-hmm.
I'm that's nowhere near what my pension was or my 401k. So now I understand, and they might, when they're saying that, they're really actively looking at their budget and what they can and cannot do.
Mm,
And it's not a bad thing because the people that I talk to, some of them are, but some of them, like I know one lady, she does everything that she want to do, but she knows where that cutoff is,
mm.
and she does it well.
So it's being mindful.
It's
So
being mindful of your spending, and you pick and choose. Say if you do want to do, I'm gonna eat out with my friends or whatever, 2 times a month, or however you budget. Once you hit that marker, you can't do it anymore because that's not within. So you're living, but they're not working.
mm,
They're and that's what they choose to do.
yeah.
And that
But what's my favorite word? They're being intentional.
intentional.
Like they're like, okay, this is how I want to live. What
Hmm.
do I need to do in
Hmm.
order to live that way? Right.
Right.
And so it's so important. But I want to ask you guys this, right? And for those of you who just tuning in, this is the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. We are here talking about the art of aging, right? How you embrace it, how you involve to it, and how it empowers you, right? And so, we all are women of a certain age, 50 and up,
That's
and
right.
this is the second part of our lives. And some of us
Hmm.
still work and run businesses. Some of us are, retired and running businesses and have substitute jobs. But at the end of the day, we're here talking about how we are navigating the aging process, and we're doing it well,
Hmm.
right? And so just hopefully you're picking up on some tips on how you can do that. But how have you guys navigated the different relationships in your life as you get older?
Well, unfortunately, people die, and the friendships that you establish over the years, you find yourself establishing new friendships sometimes, but they're not the same
Mm,
because of what you build over time. It's just like a pension or a 401k or a 403b. You put money into that, money's put into that. Once you take it out, it doesn't it doesn't reappear.
mm-hmm,
Once you lose your friends or your relatives or your favorite cousins or something like that, it hits you different, right?
mm-hmm,
And we're talking about aging and getting out there. Well, in my 20s, 30s, in a lot of different things. Going here, doing this, meeting people and stuff. So you establish those friendships. I had a few from high school and stuff like that. But as we get older, people have their lives. They got their families. They become parents and grandparents and stuff. And just sometimes people interests change,
Mm.
right? So the conversations that we used to have, I'm like, okay, well, I'm grown now, right? So I'm not having those same conversations that was cute and funny in the 30s and 40s. Like I'm in the 20s and 30s. Okay, I'm older now, so you know I'm elevating, and I'm thinking we need to elevate our conversation. And instead of talking about something that's not going to help us, I'm into let's talk about something that's going to uplift us, right?
Mm.
So I don't always want to talk about what's on the news because the news does a good job of doing that itself. I want to talk about something that's going to make a benefit or deposit into us. So my friendships now, they're different. I have a lot of people that I've grown and known over the years, and I still dig them a lot. But you choose differently. You have people that you vibe with on different levels now. So it's the
Yeah.
maturity, it's the trust, because now we're sharing different things in common, right? And I still have a couple of friends that from back in the day, but not that many, and I'm okay with that. Um, I think right now where I am, my focus is really learning how to be obedient to what God is telling me to do.
Mm.
And He's giving me some assignments to do that I need to focus on doing that before I can worry about really making more friends.
Mhm.
I have some good friends. I have people that I can confide in and talk to in the same both ways. So my focus is not so much on friendship as much as developing my relationship with God. Now that may sound corny to some people. However, his instructional book, which is,
Mm.
the Bible, is the best thing I can do for myself so that I can really be and do where I'm supposed to be in the next few years.
Mm.
So depending on the type of friends they are, if we about the same thing, if we about growing and expanding, having a good time sometime, but also focusing on getting your business together and stuff, and we can talk like that, and we can elevate, encourage each other, and we can talk about other fun stuff too. But I don't want to be on the phone. Child, did you hear about? No, I don't. Yeah, I not really. I don't want too much of that, because that's taking me away from what I could be doing that's productive. I'm
Yeah.
not saying we can't let our hair down, but I need a friend that's we're elevating each other.
Mhm.
Okay, if you're not really about that, and guess what, we got different kind of friends. So I'm not just you can have a cut up friends.
Yeah.
We know our people, we know our circles.
Yes.
Right, so I'm just saying, know your circles, y'all. So I'm not telling nobody to cut people. I'm just saying, know your circles, know what you're about. If you're trying to be intentional with certain things, then you also got to be intentional with who you spend your time with.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
No.
right now, I'm being intentional with who I spend my time with, because I don't want to waste my time. I've done enough of that.
Mm.
I've done enough of
Yeah.
that. And
Yep.
time is a gift. You can make money, you can lose money in a day and make it 2 days later, but you
Mm.
can't get your time back. So I don't want to be vibing with nobody that's got that negative Nelly energy, or they always sad about something, or they always got a gripe. But I don't want none of that.
Yeah.
You can have all of that. I don't want it. If there's a cure for it, you need to get it, because I don't know what you got. I'm just saying I need to stay positive and stay focused.
Yep.
Because it's not bad every day. It's all I'm saying. I don't
Yeah.
want to be around people that's something happening wrong all the time.
Yeah.
We're
I
gonna go.
mean, there's
You
a,
gotta be
there's
careful who you work with. Your energy don't want to link up with somebody that's a
there's a balance. There's a
has to
balance.
be, has to be.
There's a
Yeah,
balance.
you have to balance it. With me, I'm finding as I get older, of course we go back to when we were high school girls. What did they do? They talked on the phone, they was outside. And as you elevate, that gets lesser and lesser. So
Mm-hmm.
now I hardly ever talk on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. And like Gina said, some of my friends have I, I don't know if my really close friends, a couple of them have passed.
Mm,
Um, but just along the way, some drop off, new ones come on. And I don't really say they're friends. They have to earn that spot, just like I have to earn that spot.
mm,
They're my sister girl. I do this with them, but I'm learning that a friend is a that's a hard word. Like,
I mean, yeah, people
yeah,
use the
Yeah.
so
word
you
Yeah.
loosely.
can't say that that's my friend. I mean, the three of us, we developed a relationship. We've been working together. We are, I guess, we're sisters,
Yeah,
and we're becoming friends.
yeah,
Right. Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
because the more that we interact with each other, the more the love that we have for each other,
Hmm.
the
Yes.
more that we talk, the more that we get to know each
Yeah,
other. And that's how friends should go. And
yeah,
as you get older, and there's nothing wrong with saying that's, I'd rather say that's my sister girl.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but that's so key. But guys, can you believe we got like 3 minutes? So
Mm-hmm.
uh, the time always goes so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you tuning in, this is the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. If you are just tuning in, you could catch us. You can catch the replay. We hope you listen to the replay, and we're here every Monday night at 8 p.m. So, I'm gonna close us out by asking a question. Is this final question right? What's one life lesson you've learned, right, that you wish you knew earlier?
To bet on me.
Mm,
To
Well,
trust that what God gave me was right for me to pursue.
mm,
And not live in this in the middle of maybe I should or can I. Trust if your source is the Lord and that is mine. Then trust that He gave me the thing that won't leave and that He will provide me the pathway to do what I'm supposed to do. So if anything, my takeaway, the dream that I had 20 plus years ago, I'm still in the process of growing that dream. But y'all, if that's something that you have, trust it. Trust you. Believe in yourself enough to seek it out. And don't play emotional gymnastics with yourself about what you can and can't do. Just take the next step.
mm. Wow. Yep. Powerful.
mm-hmm. Mine
Gina.
would be to basically what Gina said, but let go of the fear, because the
Mm,
fear stopped me. The one critical place where I feel like I would have been further along and might not have been in North Carolina as of yet.
mm-hmm,
Um, I think about when I had the opportunity in my corporate job in Jersey, I had the opportunity to be so much further along. But because someone reached out, three people reached out to me at three different times. Hand me your resume. And
mm,
at that time, I was going back to school. I think I was working on my master's.
mm,
So my answer was, well, I'm working on my master's. And all of them said, it doesn't matter. Just hand me your, within the company that I was in. And they were like level 3, 4 senior management. I didn't do it. I didn't listen to God because he was throwing me a wrath.
mm,
Yeah.
And that was my fear.
mm. Wow. So I think you both hit on
Hmm.
what I would say is like one, bet on yourself, trust in yourself, right? And
Hmm.
also let go of fear. But for me, I would say, to have as much confidence in myself on a personal level as I have on a professional level,
Hmm.
Mm.
right? Because I show up in my professional life so much more confidently, so much more sure, right? So much more certain, right? And I know in my personal life, I always was not as confident, right? There was some insecurities, right? So like you would say, let go of the fear, let go of the doubt, trust yourself, know that you are enough, right?
Mhm.
And know that, it's okay to dream big dreams,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
right? So I would say that's one. And the other would be is to have saved more money
That would be mine too.
earlier,
Yeah,
right?
that would
Because
be mine too.
I remember being in my 20s, my teens and my 20s, and me and my best friend getting off of work after getting paid, going straight to 34th Street. If anybody live in New York City, 34th Street, right? And just shopping, right? I remember having every color of leaves, every color sneakers to match the leaves, right? So I would say, and I tell this to the young people that I mentor, I would have started saving 10% of everything a long time ago, right?
For
Because
sure.
that
And not even saving, investing.
yes,
Investing.
We do not take advantage of the
I
stock
just
market.
I started investing late in
Mhm.
life. So like you said, I would have started investing
Mhm.
much earlier than I did.
For sure.
And that was one of my things that I wanted to do. I wanted to start this ladies um, financial club. That was
Mm,
something else I had because of my dad would always invest in things, and he taught me about investing and these things that I did. So I was I was opposite of you, Theo, very confident in my personal life, but not as confident in my career or professional life.
mm,
Even though I had all the things that
yeah,
made, I knew the stuff, I just never would say it because I was
yeah.
like, oh, I'm not gonna say it right because I was kind of shy of speaking, and I said, and some words I don't say correctly, but everyone,
Yeah.
has that. But I was so conscious of that. I was like, but if you get me in front of my personal friends, they would rave like, oh wow, you just threw that off. I'm like, but
Yeah.
professionally, they'd be like, oh, I don't want to say nothing. Let me just be in the corner.
And look at us now, right?
And
What
we fought this thing when Trey told us. We was like,
this is what happens when you do the work,
Yep.
yeah,
and this is what happens when you say yes.
mm-hmm,
Absolutely.
I said that the other day.
yeah,
I said yes 2 times when I really wanted to say no,
mm-hmm,
right? And what happened? I'm co-authored 2 books, right? Gina, same thing with you, right? You said yes
Yes.
when you really wanted to say no. What happened? You became a published author. And
mm-hmm,
so the one thing I would say in closing us out, right, is this aging thing, if you do it well and you embrace it, right? And you learn how to gracefully evolve and grow and just you will become so empowered,
mm-hmm,
right?
Yes.
That the second phase of your life
mm-hmm.
is going to be amazing.
Yes, it is.
And I would like to get a little churchy, not much, as Trey would say. At the end of the day, as those who believe in our Heavenly Father, which
Mhm.
we all three do, you want him to say at the end of the day, well done.
Yep. You want to die empty.
Because you want to give everything he gave, all those gifts. You
All
want
your,
to be
all your
empty. You're right. So you got to find your purpose. And if your purpose is working, because that could be your purpose. Some
yeah,
people's purpose is to work on a
working.
job,
Yeah.
but do it well.
Yep. Do it well. Yep. And so
So
Cassandra
guess
Cummings
what?
was saying we're not taught that as a young and Cassandra, that is so
Mhm,
true. So true. We are not taught at a young age, especially those of us who fall in that Gen X category,
Right.
right?
mhm,
Right.
And so that's why it's so important now, like she said, to teach K to fifth graders financial literacy.
Yes.
exactly.
So it's
Yes.
so yes, that is so important. Thank you for that. So we want to thank you for tuning in tonight. This is the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. We are here every Monday night at 8 p.m. We went a little over, so we apologize, but the conversation got really, really good. And so hopefully you will catch us on a replay, and you'll be here again with us next Monday at 8 p.m. And so we are going to end as we normally do every Monday night, and we're going to say truth
Plus
plus
transparency
transparency equals
Equals
healing.
healing.
healing. Good night.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, y'all. Good night.
Remember to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.